Today we're going to talk about recording tube amps in your home without disturbing your neighbors. Hi, I'm Ulf at HoboRec. Welcome to my YouTube channel. As I said, today we're going to talk about recording tube amps with no sound. I guess a lot of you already know that there are a lot of things you can buy to use instead of a speaker. So you put a load because you're not supposed to use a tube amp without a load. Always have to have it connected to a speaker, otherwise it will blow the tubes and the output transformers. And it will become very, very expensive. But when I was at NAMM, I was trying out some of the Angle amps, and I noticed that they connected them directly to their little speaker cabinet pedal that I have, which is a really cool thing. You should check that out. I got so fascinated with it, so I asked if there was a load built into that pedal, but they said they didn't do it that way. They used the effects send of the amplifier, and then they put the amplifier in standby. That way the power amp was not on, and they only used the preamp section of the amp. But that's not the way all tube amps work. Obviously I had to try it when I got home. I tried first with a 5150 and then a Marshall amp, and none of them worked at all in standby mode. The preamp section was also turned off when they were in standby mode, so it didn't work. So I tried a bunch of other ways, having the speaker connected but turn down the master volume, but that only worked on certain amps where they have a master volume after the power amp. Most amps doesn't seem to have that. This one, my PV Classic that is modded, has one. It's one here that comes after the power section. I also have an extra crunch channel on this one. I found some other ways to do it. On YouTube, I searched YouTube, of course, how to solve this problem. You can use the send in the effects loop and then connect just a loose cable. I used an adapter just like this, just a TSR to XLR. Just plug it in the return, and you don't get any sound back in the return. Therefore, you have no sound going to the power section, and you only get a little hiss in the speakers. The problem with this is that you have to take the whole rig with your home with the speaker and everything, and maybe you don't have that much room. So how are we gonna solve recording only the amp head directly to your recording software? We need to have a load so we don't blow the amp when we turn it on. I solved that by building a little cheap ass load. It looks like this. It's a 8 ohm resistor, 25 watt. You don't want to play the amp on full volume with sound trying to come out through this, because it's only 25 watts, so you're gonna blow it and then you're gonna blow the amp. But it will protect the amp when you just turn it on from any power spikes and stuff like that that also can destroy the amp if you don't have a load on it. If you're gonna try this, it's on your own risk, 100%, because I'm not 100% sure this will work. I have consulted some amp technicians, and everyone says that it should be alright as long as you don't play the amp on full volume through it. But we're not going to do that, because we're going to do, as I said before, like putting this thing in the effects return so we don't get any signal to the power amp, and therefore we're not going to put any strains on it. So we're just going to keep it on there as protection. And another thing that a lot of people told me, and I already noticed it before, is when you have a speaker connected to the amp works together with the speaker. I mean, it pushes energy back and forth. There is some power returning from the speaker back into the amp, and that will affect the tone of the amp and how it feels to play it. So obviously, doing the thing that I'm gonna do, just taking line out from the effects send, you won't get that, and you maybe don't get the same tube feel that you are used to if you're really a tube amp nerd. But for home recording, and if you want a character of your specific amp, this will actually work pretty fine. What you need though, when you get this line signal into your computer, is some sort of cabinet impulse response. And in this example today, I'm gonna use a cab loader called Pulse from Lancaster Audio. The one is for free and comes with one built-in cab IR. I also made my own cab IR so that I could compare the tone that comes out from the effects send to what it would sound like if we played through the amp, through the speaker, and mic it up. So I have the same miking position and everything. What I did was I played a test signal out through only the power section of the amps. I reamped the test signal into the effects return, so it only hits the power amp, then out through the speaker and being recorded through the Neumann U87 that I put on there. And then I made a cab IR of that, and we're gonna compare what it sounds like compared to the signal going through the whole thing. I started with recording a DI signal of the guitar to have the same performance twice in both tests, and then I hooked up the effects send from my amp to a DI box going into my interface, and then of course plugged in something into the effects return to make sure there's no signal going to the power section. First we're going to listen to the signal from the amplifier directly to the interface with the speaker cabinet IR on it. And now we're going to listen to the signal going through the whole thing, through the amp, through the power section, through the speaker cabinet in real time into the microphone, as you would do it in a normal situation. Yeah, so as you can hear, it's obviously not the exact same sound. I mean, even if the tone quality should be kind of the same, since we get the tonal qualities of the power amp section when I did the cab IR, but I don't get the extra distortion from the power amp. And I guess that's what we're hearing on the real mic'd version compared to the direct recorded with the impulse response on it. If you want to, you can get the cab IR I did today for free. I didn't put that much time into it, but maybe you can do something great with it. If you like the sound of it, you can have it. Just head over to the link in the description and sign up for my email list, and you will get the download link immediately. Another thing that will also affect the tone, I guess, it's when I record the amp directly through the speaker, I get a pure tone, but when I do the DI, I also go through a DI box on the way in, some extra cables and stuff, and that will obviously affect the tone a little bit too. There are tools you can buy to do it the legit way, where you plug something with a load onto the speaker output of the amp that gets the proper load, and then you have a line out from that. I can show you one. For example, we have this one. It's a Weber. It's an attenuator. So on the back here we have input from amp, line out for DI use, and a 2-speaker. And here you can choose then to have the attenuation or just bypass it, and then you get only the DI signal, I guess. Those are a couple of $100, and other things you can buy that does the same thing is also a couple of $100. The thing I did here with the load on the speaker output is like $5 at most. So it's cheaper, but if you have a decent tube amp, I mean this one was really cheap secondhand, but if you have a more expensive amp, then putting out a couple of $100 on doing this thing is probably not a big deal. But if you sit on some cool tube amps that you want to use and you don't want to just throw out money, try this thing out and see what you think. I think the result is actually really good. It doesn't sound exactly the same, but which one is better or worse, I'm not sure actually. There are qualities in the DI signal going through the IR that I like more, but there are also other stuff in the mic'd version that I like more. So just different flavors, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave comments if you have anything to say about this, any questions, or if you have any facts that I missed, or anything you think I should address that I didn't address in this video. Please tell me. I want to know if I'm wrong. I want to know if I'm doing things right. I'm doing these experiments to learn by myself, and I want to share the results with you so you can do something with it. And also, if you want to leave questions, that would be really cool, because I'm gonna try and start doing some of the Q&As again pretty soon. I have a lot of questions that are old, but I would also like some newer ones, so it's a bit more up to date. Again, thank you so much. Cheers!